Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm Michael Frankel. We are a week away from School of Hard Knocks, bringing boxing back to Hobbs and making a little bit of history also in the state of New Mexico. Joining us to talk all about it right now is promoter Isidro Castillo. Sir, thank you for the time. How you doing?
Thank you, champ, for having me. Appreciate you, my man.
What's it like, the life of a promoter trying to get started again? It's been a long time since the pandemic.
Man, it's been definitely crazy, that's for sure. I feel like a kid in a candy store putting these fights together. And throughout this pandemic, I've been helping other promoters whenever the fights started happening again. So I've kind of been away, but not really. Constantly on the phone with promoters, managers, coaches, and fighters, trying to make fights all the time with for different shows, But now it's my show, and I do everything for myself. I promote, I do the matchmaking. I got fighters that I coach, so it's been certainly a joy. I'm excited.
Talking about a joy, it seems like it's been a big passion project of yours in particular to get Bare Knuckle sanctioned here in New Mexico. And we're going to get the first Bare Knuckle boxing matchup on your card August 7th. What does it mean to you?
It took me 2.5 years to get the New Mexico Athletic Commission to approve Bare Knuckle fighting in New Mexico. I believe we're the fourth, maybe the fifth state throughout the United States to allow bare knuckle fighting. And it's a project I actually started probably about 6 years ago when I first approached the commission. And they kind of laughed about it. I said, "Oh, that will never happen in New Mexico." And then in 2017, December 2017, I hit up Richard Espinosa in regards to trying to make this reality. I put some stuff together, started going to meetings, and now we got it approved this April of 2021, and the very first show in New Mexico will be happening on the 7th here in Hobbs at Club La Sierra by the School of Hard Knocks Promotions. Pretty exciting.
And I got to ask why. What was it in particular about the bare knuckle that attracted you and that you wanted to push forward for it?
Well, it's a fast-growing sport. It's a sport that takes on boxers and MMA fighters, and it's something that was going on before boxing even happened, and it was outlawed, of course. And just to say that I'm making history by bringing it to New Mexico, I'm pretty proud of myself for that. And I love all forms of fighting, whether it be boxing, MMA, bare knuckle fighting, or a street fight. I'm about the fight life. I'm a third-generation fighter. My son's a fourth-generation boxer. It's been on our family for many years. I've been coaching 25 years. Come this August, my grandpa was a coach for 27 years. So fighting has been in our blood for many years, and I have great passion for not only boxing but for all aspects of fighting. Whether it be from coaching, managing, advising, matchmaking, or promoting. I kind of got my hands in a little bit of everything around this area anyways, and throughout the country I help quite a bit of promoters actually, so it's quite a bit of work,
What kind of adrenaline rush is there when you see one of those matchups that you make on one of these big cards? I've seen you have a hand on Canelo undercards, on Mayweather undercards.
It's exciting because a lot of people don't realize how hard matchmaking is. Most of the time for these bigger promoters, we're actually looking for an opponent for their fighter, but to put together a fight and it turns out to be a great fight, that there's a science behind it. And I feel like I'm a mad scientist, in this world of boxing or in this, combative sports. And it's pretty exciting because, to put a good show together, like what I'm trying to do next weekend, there's gonna be some pretty good fights in for a treat, and it's awfully exciting to me especially when I put a fight under a big card. You know, it's just knowing people and working with these people and just doing work, man.
August 7th, Hobbs, New Mexico, main event, Mario Gonzalez, Luis Luna. I absolutely love that fight. I feel like Luis brings it every time. He's a weathered veteran, a little bit new to boxing, but with his MMA experience, he's been through some fights. And with the kind of promise that Mario has, this is a really good, tough test for him. What led this fight to come together?
Well, first of all, man, I couldn't be more proud to bring this fight to Hobbs, because Luis Luna is actually from Seminole, Texas, which is 2 hops and a skip. It's literally 30 minutes away from Hobbs. Everybody knows Luis in the fight world. Mario started making a name for himself real quick. You know, before the pandemic, you know, he was up to 4-0 rather rapidly, and he had an extensive amateur background, just like Luis has an extensive MMA background. Luis is 2-0 as a professional boxer with 2 knockouts. Mario's 4-0 with 3 knockouts. So, man, if for me, it's a fight that needed to be done as a main event, because, you know, a lot of people pay good money to come see these fights, and both these guys are going to bring a war, that's for sure. And it's Texas versus New Mexico. I couldn't be more happy with the better main event for my show. You know, 2 undefeated fighters. Somebody's always got to go for sure.
It's always exciting when you have those 2 undefeated fighters. And we know there's been a little change, but there's also that historical fight that's going to happen. Talk to me about the bare knuckle matchup.
Oh, man. So, first of all, Levi Lucero, unfortunately, had to pull out. You know, Levi is one of these guys that will fight anybody, whether it be boxing or MMA. He was one of the first persons to hit me up to be a part of my show. Unfortunately, he caught COVID. Right away, I put it out there, and the first kid to hit me up was Daniel Arriaga out of Dimmitt, Texas. He has about 19 amateur fights as a boxer, and I think he has like 9 MMA amateur fights. And then he's fighting Anthony Sanchez, who's been on the card, who is was also one of the first people to hit me up. And I know he's training really hard. He's out of Midland, Texas. So it's pretty cool to see these guys. They're going to be fighting for a School of Hard Knocks bare knuckle prize fight title. And it's the first fight in New Mexico that will be sanctioned as a bare knuckle fight. I'm pretty excited about that fight. Now, I did have a few other fights. Things didn't come together on those fights. So unfortunately, I'm only having 1 bare knuckle fight, but nevertheless, it's still history here in New Mexico. Pretty stoked.
I kind of like the feeling of just one for the first time, for it to be the first fight, to get that special feel, that spotlight. I kind of actually like how it worked out for you.
I do too. I mean, it's going to be the co-main event. So if these guys are cut up pretty bad or whatever, you know, it's going to be towards the end of the fight. The doctor's not going to have to spend a whole lot of time at the beginning of the show. So it did work out, and it's going to stir up some pretty good stuff here in southeastern New Mexico.
I brought up the main event. I brought up the co-main event. So that's 2 fights. Now I need you to bring up 2 fights and tell me about the ones on the undercard too that you're really looking forward to.
And I mean, top to bottom, there's quite a bit, but there's a heavyweight fight. You got Hobbs, New Mexico's own Mark Martinez. He's 1-1. His background is MMA, as his opponent, Roman Huerta, he's from Odessa, Texas. He's 2-0. So we got 2 big men. Roman's 6'4". Mark is 6'2.5", 6'3". Mark is like 265 and Roman's like 250. So you got 2 big men. They're bringing it. They're going to have a big time clash, and they both have a common opponent in Nick Tipton. Roman was able to knock Nick out in the 2nd round, and that was a 4-round fight. Is one of my main events in Midland, Texas that I promoted. They bet it $10,000 each. Roman won that fight, and then Mark fought Nick Tipton. Mark knocked down Nick. I can't remember if it was the 3rd or the 4th round, but he knocked him down. And when he was going down, he hit Nick and was disqualified. So it'll be a good show. It's going to be very good, very good fight.
And then give me one other from this awesome card, Stack Night of Boxing, one other that you're really looking forward to there.
Okay, so I've got a kid named Ricky Martinez from Levelland, Texas, and Jonathan Abeda. It's another heavyweight fight. And I will tell you, both of these guys, they're about 5'8", 5'9". They have 40 to 50 amateur fights each. They both offered to fight Mark or Roland. So what I did, I ended up matching Mark and Roman together. I ended up making the fight with Ricky versus Jonathan. I'm really excited for that fight. Both these guys have a world of experience as small heavyweights. It's going to be a definitely fight for the fans, man. I mean, it's going to be David Tua versus a Mike Tyson. They both have small statures, but they both have a lot of experience, and I'm really excited for the fight. But all these guys, man, if I can put in another fight, Michael Andrews versus Ira Herrera, that's going to be a good fight as well. They're all to me, the whole card is full of good fighters, man. Good fights. You got Des Hill, who's undefeated. He's taking on Michael Sanchez. Michael doesn't have the best of record, but Michael has fought, Joey Alday, who was signed by Top Rank at one time. He's fought Rico Yorquizo. He's fought Lorenzo Benavides. He turns nobody down. He's fought Oscar Espinoza, who's 4-1. So he fights everybody. Now he's fighting Des, and so I'm excited for the whole card. We have 10 fights, 9 professional boxing, 1 bare knuckle fighting, and the fight scene is back here in southeastern New Mexico.
How much just pride do you have when you look around at what you've built, at the kind of name you've established for yourself here as such a contributing factor in New Mexico and Texas to the combat sports scene?
And I love what I do, and I love building relationships with these other promoters. I help the Pettis brothers with Legacy. I help Pat Holmes. I help Lenny Fresquez and Teresa Tapia, who's putting a show on. In fact, I'll be in Ruidoso this weekend because I'm renting my ring, and I also put together like 3 fights for them. And in West Texas, same thing. I promote over there, and I help other promoters. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't want it any other way, man. I love what I do. I wish that this was all I did. I have several businesses that we run here in Hobbs. I do pest and weed control, and I have a semi-trucking business, and of course my gym, and I promote. But what I want to do is just focus on the fight scene, whether it's coaching, managing, advising, promoting, matchmaking. This is where my passion is, man, and I love this stuff. I wish I talked better on the camera. I'm awfully nervous. I apologize, but man, putting together these fights, I feel like I'm a director, and I have a movie cast around me, and it takes a lot to put a show on. People think it's easy, and people think if they see a lot of people at your show, they think you made all kinds of money, but there's so many expenses to go to putting on a show, and it's just, but I still want to continue to do this. I'm going to work real hard to continue building my name and leaving a legacy, and I hope when I'm done with boxing, or when I'll probably never be done with boxing because I have a 2-year-old son, and I named him Ali after Muhammad Ali. But if I were to ever pass away, I hope that my oldest son, Isidro, who's 6-0, is a professional boxer. I hope that he can take over, and I hope that he can start promoting, and now he wants to start managing fighters and get onto the other side of the business of boxing, because he hurt his knee, so he's been out of the fight scene for about 3.5, 4 years, and I know he wants to fight, but he works all the time, and so he actually wants to start refereeing fights and judging fights too, so he wants to get more involved as well. Yes, sir.
You guys are keeping busy. I gotta ask, I think I've already seen there's plans now in the works, it looks like, even for an MMA event here in the near future.
I am. I'm actually, I've already secured October 9th. I just got to submit my event permit. That's going to be here in Hobbs. I'm also working on several fights in West Texas, Lubbock, Texas, Odessa, Texas, Midland, and Amarillo, Texas. Be it boxing or MMA, we're coming full force. And I also have plans for more tentative boxing, bare knuckle fights in New Mexico. The boxing, I'll stick to southeastern New Mexico. I don't want to disrespect the other promoters I work with, but I do have a casino that I'm working with to bring bare knuckle fighting to Albuquerque. So I'm pretty excited about that, man. And I am working on a full bare knuckle fight card here in Albuquerque at one of the casinos. I hope to God that we can bring it to reality, So.
Isidro, doing some huge things, great things in the combat sports industry. Sir, I got to thank you for the time.
I appreciate you. Hit me up. I hope to see you at one of these shows soon.
Definitely. And everybody, August 7th, Hobbs, New Mexico. They're making history, and it's a killer main event.
Thank you.